Rocks and minerals. Well, what is a rock? A rock is a solid that's made up of one or more minerals. People who study rocks and minerals are called geologists. They classify rocks according to the way that they are formed or made. So, the Grand Canyon in Arizona is made up of layers of rocks. Most of these rocks are called limestones. At the very bottom, you will find the oldest rocks in the canyon, and at the top, you will find the youngest rocks. So there's three major types of rocks. We have metamorphic, igneous, sedimentary. So, what are metamorphic rocks? Well, metamorphic rocks are formed by great heat or pressure, or both. They are generally made from other types of rocks, such as sedimentary or igneous rocks. So, what are some examples of metamorphic rocks? Well, there's slate, marble, gneiss, and schist. So, what are igneous rocks? Igneous rocks form when melted rock cools and hardens. So, hot molten rock called magma or lava from volcanoes cools down and hardens when it reaches the Earth's surface or somewhere within the crust. So what are some examples of igneous rocks? Well, there's basalt, granite, pumice, or quartz. So what are sedimentary rocks? Well, those are rocks that are formed by many years of sediment, and sediment is many pieces of rock and soil squeezed tight together until they harden. So that means they're compacted and cemented together. Streams or rivers will carry lots of sediment to a larger body of water and settle at the bottom. Millions of years later, they will form into solid rock. So, what are some examples of sedimentary rocks? There's limestone, coal, sandstone, and shale. So look here, we have the rock cycle. Rocks are always changing, and the process of change is called the rock cycle. The changes happen very slowly over millions of years, which makes it difficult to see. So check out the rock cycle here. So you see that the volcano erupts, so the magma gets cooled down into igneous rocks. Okay, it can then melt again, or it can have heat and pressure, make it into metamorphic rocks, or it can erode down to sediments. So there's lots going on in this rock cycle. So what about weathering? Weathering is the process that breaks down rocks into smaller pieces, which is caused by wind, rain, ice, chemicals, freezing, or thawing. So now what's erosion? Erosion is after a rock has been broken down into pieces by weathering, it is ready for erosion. This means the movement of rock pieces from place to place, which is caused by wind, rain, waves, gravity, or even moving ice. So deposition. Well, what's that mean now? This is when the particles carried by water, ice, or wind by the forces of erosion are deposited or dropped into other locations. So basically, this is when material is added to a landform. We call it deposition. So the full picture here of what's happening. So we have weathering, erosion, and deposition. Weathering are rocks that are broken down into small pieces. Erosion are small pieces of rock and sand that are picked up by the forces of nature. Then they're deposited or left in a new place. So what landforms are produced by deposition? Well, look here. We have rock slides on hills and mountains that are created as rocks are deposited. We have in the desert the deposition patterns of wind that creates the sand dunes. And here, the waves of the ocean create beaches as they deposit sand over time. So we've got some fun facts now. The first one is the heads of Mount Rushmore in South Dakota are carved out of igneous rock called granite. That means that it's super hard rock. But check this out. When lightning strikes the sand at the beach, the sand can melt to form a glassy rock called fulgurite. Did you know that a diamond is the hardest mineral? Also, meteorites are rocks from space, and they can help scientists learn new things about our solar system. And the last fun fact is the word igneous comes from the Latin word ignis, which means a fire. I hope you've enjoyed our Rocks and Mineral PowerPoint.